Hello and welcome to Chemistry at County High. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the course and what to expect if you study chemistry with us next year. Chemistry obviously is going to build on your knowledge of GCSE chemistry, so you need to be pretty confident with that. When we do it at A-level, it splits into 3 groups, which you can see listed on the table here. This will give you a vague idea of the kind of topics that we're going to study. Some of them will be very familiar to you and will be things that you've done at GCSE. Other topics will be new. If you want to know more information about what we are going to study, you can look at the exam board website. Make sure that you're looking at AQA, A-level chemistry. There is a link here in the video, or you should be able to pull it up fairly easily using Google. So chemistry is assessed as written exams, and these written exams, there will be 3 papers at the end of year 13. Each one is 2 hours long. The length of the questions varies. We have one paper where there's a significant number of multiple choice questions. Most questions are short answer, which obviously can include calculation and equation work. And then there will be a few longer answer questions. Although these are not essays in the sense that you are arguing a point, they are more an extended chance for you to describe a practical or to perhaps compare different types of bonding. 15% of the marks that are awarded are always related to practical work, and 20% are related to GCSE maths skills. Practical work is a really important part of what we do in chemistry. Many lessons will involve practical work or demonstrations as part of teaching the theory, but there are also specific practicals that need to be done that are stated by the exam board. As well as your main A-level grade, which will give you, the grades as you're expecting, A, B, C, D. You also get a practical endorsement, and this appears on your certificate as a separate qualification, and it is only available at pass or fail. So there is no reason for anybody to fail this, because it is more about you gathering enough skills. So if you haven't yet demonstrated the skills you need with the 12 experiments, then we will look for some further examples. So it is not anything to worry about, but it does mean that you need to be prepared to write up your practical work formally in a lab notebook. Just to return to what we were saying about math skills, you do not need to be doing A-level maths in order to do A-level chemistry. However, you do have to be a fairly competent mathematician. You need to be confidently using the skills from your GCSE course. So if you're at all worried about your maths, you can get this book, which you can see here, which will help you through the course. But obviously the teachers here will work with different students to assess what their level of maths ability is and to help them to develop their skills if needed. But you do need to be prepared for there to be significant amount of calculation work in A-level chemistry, which is why we have a maths grade requirement as part of our course entry. Our students use a range of different resources to support them in their learning, and we would always recommend that you do draw on more than one. On this slide, you can see 2 different textbooks that are ones that we think are both very good books, and also you can see the type of revision guides that are available. Please don't go out and buy things in advance of the course. Have a look at them once you start with us in September, and we will recommend what we think you should look at, because these things can be expensive. This brings us on to looking at summer work. There's a few things that are really important that you need as part of your toolkit to do your A-level chemistry, and the earlier that you have got those sorted, the better off you are going to be. The first thing that we'd like you to do is to learn what we call the polyatomic ions. When some of you will recognise this from GCSE, you need to know those ions, so that if somebody says to you hydroxide or sulfate, you know exactly what that is in terms of its chemical formula. The second thing is much more open-ended. We need you to make sure you are really confident with your chemistry. Now, you will have been revising that for your GCSE exams. There's quite a long gap between the end of the GCSEs and the start of September, so it would be a really good idea to set aside some time before the start of term to go back and refresh your memory again of your chemistry work from GCSE. Now, you can do this using your GCSE revision guide or your notes or your textbook. If you don't have these, or you feel like you would like something else to support you, there is a book published by CGP, which you can see here, which is designed specifically to help you with the transition between GCSE and A-level. So I wouldn't suggest you bought this if you have a suitable GCSE resource to use, but if you don't, you may like to consider it. Part 3 of the summer work is to practice some calculations, because as I've said in earlier slides, we do need you to be very confident with your math skills, with your algebra, with your converting units. And here are some chemistry questions that require your math skills. So if you could have a look through here, the answers are on the next slide once you've had a go at them. Just for anybody who has not been able to attend our 2 face-to-face lessons in school, you can find on the following slide some of the skills and the activities that we are working on in those face-to-face lessons, so that you can make sure that you're not at a disadvantage, and that you also get the taster that we need you to of what A-level chemistry is going to be like.